This is Top 30. Combustible panels are being used on buildings and could pose a fire hazard to people inside. This according to a new report by the Wall Street Journal. In June, a kitchen fire at Grenfell Tower in London spread to the outside of the building and killed at least 80. The building had panels made by US company Arconic. They consist of aluminum sheets wrapped around a core, usually made of polyethylene, which is flammable. The company says they stopped selling them, but the Wall Street Journal says they're in use right now all over America. They were found at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, the Cleveland Browns football stadium, and buildings at California State University, Long Beach. Arconic says a more expensive flame-retardant version should be used in places too high to be reached by firefighters' ladders. In 2012, the International Code Council in Washington, D.C. rewrote the building code to allow panels that failed fire safety tests to be used at any height. It is astonishing to me that any building can be wrapped in flammable panels, and let's not forget the consequences of getting this wrong.
The NAACP has issued a travel advisory warning African-American flyers about American Airlines. The civil rights organization said this week that Black people should use caution because, quote, booking and boarding flights could cause them disrespectful, discriminatory, or unsafe conditions. The NAACP cites what they call a pattern of disturbing incidents involving Black passengers. In one, a man said he was forced to give up his purchased tickets after responding to disrespectful comments made by two white flyers. One African-American woman said she and her baby were removed from a flight when she requested her child's stroller be retrieved from checked luggage. A spokesperson from American Airlines said, "We are disappointed to hear about this travel advisory, as our team members are proud to serve customers of all backgrounds." The airline also said they will invite NAACP representatives to a meeting at their headquarters. These are your quick hits. Entry fees for 17 national parks could be increasing by more than double during peak season to raise money for maintenance. Fees for parks like the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, and Yellowstone are usually $30, but will jump to $70 if implemented. Actor Robert Guillaume died on Tuesday at the age of 89 following complications from cancer. He was known for his role as the lovable butler on the TV shows Soap and Benson.
How do you know it was total? Well, I would consider any car in the shape of a horseshoe total.
His passing sparked an outpouring of love on social media. And look at Fiona the baby hippo, adorably photobombing this couple's engagement at the Cincinnati Zoo. It doesn't get much cuter than that.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedlides. Nicole, I'm hearing big things about McDonald's value menu.
Well, that's right, Richard. Well, McDonald's is hoping that the customers will love its new value program, the restaurant chain rolling out a successor to the defunct dollar menu that will now offer $3, $2, and even $1 items. The new value menu will launch nationally next year. And if you are shopping online, there is a 50-50 chance that you're doing it on Amazon. According to eMarketer, Amazon could be responsible for nearly half of U.S. e-commerce sales by the end of the year. Amazon is by far the biggest e-commerce company, followed by eBay, Apple, and Walmart. So what do you think is better, renting or owning? Well, a new survey from Freddie Mac shows that 76% of millennials do believe that renting is more affordable than owning. 82% of baby boomers said renting is a better deal, followed by 75% of Gen Xers.
Nicole, what are the reasons that people are renting more?
Some of the reasons are convenience and flexibility, and some respondents said they didn't have enough for a down payment. Another reason was that they had just moved into the neighborhood and were exploring, meaning it's a personal preference, and suggesting that this trend might not reverse anytime soon.
The battle over a controversial law that impacts millions of consumers took center stage on the Senate floor. The vote ended in a 50-50 tie, with Vice President Mike Pence forced to cast the deciding vote. His vote allowed Republicans to strike down a sweeping rule that would have allowed Americans to file class action lawsuits against banks and financial institutions. Currently, the fine print on most financial agreements says disputes between customers and companies must go into private arbitration, meaning the dispute is settled by an impartial third party. Every Democrat supported allowing class action lawsuits, saying it gives individual consumers power to band together and fight predatory and deceptive business practices. GOP leaders said it would lead to more lawsuits and enrich lawyers rather than consumers. The head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau said it robs consumers of their most effective legal tool against corporate wrongdoing. He urged President Trump to veto the measure. However, Trump is expected to sign it. Residents of a Tampa neighborhood are living in fear because authorities believe 3 recent shootings may be the work of a serial killer. Police released this video and asked the public to help identify the possible suspect. The shootings, which occurred within a mile of each other in the Seminole Heights neighborhood, are linked by time and location. The killing started on October the 9th when 22-year-old Benjamin Mitchell was executed in front of his home. On October the 11th, 32-year-old Monica Hoffer was shot and left to be found in a vacant lot. The most recent murder happened on October the 19th when Anthony Naboa was struck by a bullet walking to a bus stop. According to USA Today, Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn said, "There aren't a lot of facts or evidence yet. We're going to find this guy, and we're not leaving this neighborhood till we do." Buckhorn added that the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives have joined the investigation.
The man who founded the world's largest hedge fund just gave an eye-opening warning about our economy and how leaders may be misinterpreting it. Ray Dalio posted a note on LinkedIn warning the numbers may show a growing and healthy economy, but that's not the case for everyone. He analyzed the economy based on the top 40% and the bottom 60% and shared a variety of stats, including how incomes have been down or flat for the bottom 60%, but up for the top 40. He also wrote only about a third of the bottom 60% is able to save any of its income. Dalio goes on to say the stress between the two economies will intensify over the next 5 to 10 years. His big warning: average statistics camouflage what's happening in the economy, which could lead to dangerous miscalculations, most importantly by policymakers.
Playing in the World Series is the ultimate dream for most ball players, but for Dodgers pinch hitter Kyle Farmer and pitcher Alex Wood, it's also a tribute to their friend and former college teammate Chance Veazey. Veazey played at the University of Georgia with Farmer and Woods until a scooter accident left him paralyzed from the waist down, ending his dreams of playing in the major leagues. Weeks later, Woods and Farmer got matching tattoos that said "Second Chance" as a tribute to their friend. By chance, Farmer and Woods reunited as teammates in the Dodgers organization in 2015. According to ESPN, Farmer said, "When you have a best friend who is very good in baseball and it's taken away from him and you get an opportunity to live out his dream, you kind of feel like you're playing for him." The Dodgers and the Astros will slug it out, but the hardest battle was fought by Chance Veazey, and he came out victorious.
A birthday party fit for a king, but it's for a 1-year-old. It's time for this week's Page 6 Fix with senior reporter Carlos Greer.
DJ Khaled rented out Miami's IT nightclub for little Assad's 1-year birthday party. The lavish Lion King themed event featured dancers dressed as animals and a live tiger. Khaled also has a big heart to match his big budget. All the toys and stuffed animals that were used as decorations were donated to charities. And John Mayer just celebrated his 40th in Brazil with Andy Cohen. And you won't believe what John gave himself for a gift: a custom dude necklace with 4,000 diamonds. We talked to the jeweler himself. He wouldn't say how much John had spent on the necklace. He did say that if he had to make it again, he would charge 6 figures for it. And if you thought tickets for Hamilton were expensive, try seeing The Boss on Broadway. Tickets for Springsteen's show are selling for as much as $12,500. And that's this week's Page 6 Fix. See you next time.
Thanks, Carlos. For more news and gossip, watch Page 6 TV weekdays. Check your local listings.
One day, NASA would like to explore Mars, but that could be more difficult than previously thought. Before it lands astronauts On the surface of the red planet, the space agency has considered landing on one of its moons. Phobos would be a good site for a base to launch missions from. It has stable gravity and orbit, but according to a new NASA study, it also has an electrical charge. The problem is solar wind. It is a stream of electrically charged particles the sun blows out into space at about 1 million miles an hour. Areas of the moon are exposed and can be charged to hundreds of volts. The study's authors say it's not enough to injure astronauts, but it could be enough to interfere with the sensitive equipment they carry with them. The research concludes that NASA will need specially designed equipment and spacesuits before launching explorations to Mars. An engagement photo shoot turned into a horror film prank for a man taking pictures for his sister. Jesse McLaren tweeted, "My sister asked me to shoot her engagement pics, so I hid Pennywise the clown in every photo. Countdown until she notices." Pennywise is the clown from Stephen King's It, which was released in September and became the highest grossing horror movie of all time. The tweet had 50,000 retweets, with people waiting to see how his sister would react. She texted him and said, "On one hand, I really hope that you get the help that you need. On the other, I totally want to use these."
In today's hometown stories from Fox 11 LA, 78-year-old Miguel Chaidez has been a lifelong Dodgers fan, attending any game he could. But after he was diagnosed with cancer for the second time, Miguel hasn't been able to make it to the games. Watching the Dodgers make it to the World Series on TV lifted Miguel's spirits. But his daughter's son had an even better idea: to get his grandpa tickets to the game. His grandson has set up a GoFundMe page hoping to raise the $6,000 needed. Our next story from Fox 29 Philadelphia. A group of city kids got a taste of the outdoors thanks to an outing with Outward Bound. Initially, many of the students from Sayre High School had their guards up. A few trust exercises later, they not only had fun, but developed a new respect for themselves and their classmates.
There's more in all of our students than we know, and when we give them these challenges and these chances to rise to an occasion, you'll often see it.
For our final story from Fox 10 Phoenix, 25-year-old Justin Richardson has been battling leukemia, spending the last year in Tennessee, recovering from a liver and kidney transplant. Justin was excited to get home, but he wasn't the only one. Residents of Payson showed up to celebrate his return, with a parade of fire and police vehicles and many hugs from friends.
Justin's worked really hard to get us home.
Grateful to receive the life-saving treatment he needed, Justin hopes to educate others on the importance of organ donation.
Scientists have discovered that when you die, you know you've died. Dr. Sampania says that once your heart stops beating, blood no longer circulates to the brain and it loses functionality almost instantaneously. But the actual death of the brain cells can take hours. And it's in those moments that people may still experience a form of consciousness. Using studies out of Europe and the US, they looked at people who suffered cardiac arrest and, quote, came back to life. Dr. Pania says they'll describe watching doctors and nurses working, and they'll describe having awareness of full conversations, of visual things that were going on that would otherwise not be known to them. So, good news, we're all gonna live longer.
Rejection is never easy to deal with, even in the animal kingdom. Meet James. He looks like a happy young calf without a care in the world, but he has quite the backstory. James was rejected by his herd. I know, hard to believe because he's so cute. But without his family, James was left to fend for himself until the human family who runs the farm decided to take him in. James inherited new parents, and even though it might make you look twice, James feels right at home with his new canine siblings, running and jumping, even taking on new mannerisms. It just goes to show that blood isn't the only thing that unites family. Love does. And James's new family, though unconventional, has plenty of that. For some, teaching is so much more than a profession. It's a way of life. And that's certainly true for Jean Williams, who's now a resident at Sunrise Senior Living Center in Poland, Ohio. Jean was an educator and tutor for 47 years. She's taught every grade level from kindergarten to graduate school. So when one aide at her senior center needed help studying for a nursing school entrance exam, she answered the call. Delonte Carter decided he wanted to be a nurse after working at Sunrise. The only problem, he he failed the math portion of the entrance test. Gene stepped in and offered to be his tutor. They studied together for 2 hours before and after his shift for the whole summer. And then Delonte passed the exam with flying colors. Delonte is now a licensed nurse, in part thanks to Gene's support.
Amazon received 238 bids from cities and territories applying to be the site of the company's second headquarters, including from parts of Canada, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. But despite the expectation of the new hub bringing 50,000 jobs, cities from a handful of states did not submit bids. Hawaii, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Vermont, Wyoming, and Arkansas. In fact, Little Rock, Arkansas, took out a full-page ad in the Washington Post, which is owned by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, to write a tongue-in-cheek breakup letter. It starts, "It's not you, it's us," and continues, "When we started really thinking about what our future would look like, we realized it would probably never work out between us. If another expansion opportunity comes up, give us a call. We would love to find a way to make us work out." Amazon should just now give it to Little Rock for showing more creativity than any other city. Hackers are now targeting America's schools. Cyber criminals have struck more than 30 schools from Georgia to California, this according to the Department of Education. The attackers have stolen students' names, addresses, birthdates, and social security numbers, but they've also accessed disciplinary and medical records. Some schools have had money stolen. Employees being paid by direct deposit had their paychecks rerouted to unauthorized accounts. The theft of the information is the first step in an extortion scheme. Ransom letters demanding payments in Bitcoin soon arrive. Schools have to pay or risk the release of the information. Some are accompanied by threats of violence. Montana's Columbia Falls School District 6 got a letter saying, "We know everything about your schools and the children in them." Some parents in Iowa's Johnston Community School District even received texts threatening to kill their children. The FBI warns against paying ransoms because it could encourage other criminal activity. But the schools who paid up said they had no choice. A spokesperson for Los Angeles Valley College said the school would have lost all of its students' record had it not paid a ransom of $28,000. Experts say that many schools have rushed to use more technology in the classroom without increasing security measures.
If you have a couple $1 million hidden in your couch cushions, you too can live like James Bond, as Aston Martin broke ground on a luxury apartment building worth fantasizing over. Located in downtown Miami, buyers of the meticulously detailed condos can pay the Aston Martin design team to personally design their units. Residents who can't quite afford the $35 million triplex penthouse still have access to many communal features. Features like a rooftop helipad, heated infinity pool, spinning studio, spa facilities, art gallery, 2 movie theaters, 24-hour valet, butler, and most importantly, super yacht marina facilities. Construction won't be completed until 2022, so there's still time to save your pennies.
This week, Cambridge University made Stephen Hawking's 1966 thesis, Properties of Expanding Universes, available online. And demand for it was so high, the university's open access servers crashed. According to Stuart Roberts, Deputy Head of Research Communications at Cambridge, the thesis had been viewed over 60,000 times the day it was released. He also noted their most popular theses typically only get 100 views per month. NPR reported a Cambridge Open Access official said the interest in the paper was unprecedented. In a statement, Hawking talked about his decision to make the thesis available online, saying anyone anywhere in the world should have free, unhindered access to not just my research, but to the research of every great and inquiring mind across the spectrum of human understanding. The universe is infinite. Cambridge University's servers are not.
The key to raising empowered women is to let them be funny. Just look at Ellen DeGeneres, Melissa McCarthy, and Whoopi Goldberg. Powerful and funny. Several studies reveal that by letting little girls exercise their humor, it gives them a sense of confidence and conveys intelligence. Humor requires a leap of risk, and T. Bradford Bitterly of Wharton Business School says it can shift perspective of status, gathering more respect, influence, and admiration. Peter McGraw, a director at the University of Colorado, says funny people are better company. They make the world an easier, more enjoyable place. But it's not always easy for women to be funny, and it's a societal issue, McGraw says. Professor Gina Barreca speculated the reason girls often suppress their humor in adolescence is that it's seen as alpha behavior. A good girl doesn't make anybody uncomfortable, doesn't take up too much space. But times are a-changing, and women are kicking butt and taking up space.
That is it for today's Top 30. Here are some stories coming up that are worth knowing about. Automated restaurants are supposed to be the future of dining, but will they take off? These twins used to be conjoined and had spent their entire lives in a hospital. After surgery, they're thriving, and this dog survived being left for dead. Now she brings hope to others. All coming up on the next Top 30.